So I'm going to talk today about the reading that Maddie read to us, the first reading. And that was by Paul. And who here knows why I and all of us might have a special affinity for Paul? Do we have some relationship here to Paul? Simon? Our church is named St. Paul's. He's our patron saint. So do you guys know anything about Paul? Who he was and what he did? Yeah, Nathan.
He liked to write letters to people.
He liked to write letters to people. That's right. You clergy children are coming through for me here. Yes, so Paul was starting churches right after Jesus died, in the very early part of when the church was beginning. And because we didn't have phones and that back then, he would write letters to the churches to keep in contact with them. When they needed advice, he would write it in the form of a letter. And those letters are called epistles. So today he wrote a letter. And I'm going to read you part of it, and we're going to try to make some sense of it. For though I am free with respect to all, I have made myself a slave to all, so that I might win more of them. To the Jews I became as a Jew, in order to win Jews. To those under the law I became as one under the law, though I myself am not under the law, so that I might win those under the law. I have become all things to all people, that I might by all means save some. I did it all for the sake of the gospel, so that I may share in its blessings. What do you guys think Paul means? That he became all things to all people. I've been wondering about that a lot this week. And it got me thinking about this. Do you guys know what this animal is?
No.
A chameleon. And what is the cool thing about chameleons? Do you guys know any cool things about chameleons? Yeah.
Change color.
They change color. You guys know why they change color? Yeah, Lucy. To blend in, exactly. They change color to blend in. I was also reading about this other animal you might have heard of called a mimic octopus. And it not only changes color, you might know why I know about this animal called a mimic octopus. It changes color, not only changes color, but it changes the way its body looks to blend in with the stuff around it. And then it also changes its legs to look like fish and snakes and all sorts of stuff. Why would it do that? Why would it want to blend in, I wonder? Yeah, Noah. So creatures don't know that it's there. It blends in when it's feeling afraid and it's in danger. It blends in to protect itself. I have been that kind of person before. I have been in a situation where I have wanted to blend in to protect myself. I wonder if any of you all have. Maybe when someone was being picked on and it was a little bit easier to blend in so that you wouldn't get picked on too. That's happened to me. And I started thinking, I wonder if that's what Paul meant by blending in. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I don't think so. Because Paul says he blends in for the sake of the gospel, the good news of Jesus, and that he blends in so that he might experience that good news too. And I know when I've tried to blend in, I feel pretty afraid, and it doesn't feel great. So I don't think that the good news of Jesus would sit in me in a way where I didn't feel good about it. So that got me thinking about another sort of blending in. So now I'm wondering if you guys know who these guys are. Wild Kratts! Yes! Has anyone here watched the Wild Kratts?
Yes.
Yes! So for those of you who haven't watched the Wild Kratts are brothers, and it used to be a show where they were not cartoon, they were themselves, and they just thought animals were the coolest thing. So they would learn everything they could about animals, and then they would tell all of us kids about them. But now that we have lots of animation possibilities, they have become cartoon characters of themselves, and when they learn about the animals, they can do the coolest thing. They can become those animals. So do you guys see how there's zebras here? Now these guys, you've watched the zebra video of them? Was it awesome? Because I've only seen this picture. I bet it was awesome. I'm going to ask you after to tell me all about it. So these guys, they blend in for two reasons. And I think these reasons are more what Paul was talking about. So the very first reason I alluded to earlier. They blend in, they learn about these animals, and then they want to become them for a few minutes or a few hours because they think the animals are so cool. They're just inspired. They're full of awe and wonder and joy at all the amazing things different animals can do to protect themselves, to get food, all of the different things. And so they want to become like them, to experience this new way of being in the world. So that's the first thing. The second reason they become different animals is because they often want to help another animal or a person. So sometimes they become another animal because they need to rescue a third animal. This, I think, is more in line with what Paul was talking about. Paul says he became like other people in order that he could spread the good news of Jesus. The good news of Jesus is God's love for us all the time, that God meets us exactly where we are, that God fills us with love and heals us and frees us, and that message is so powerful that we just want to go see all the world to find that message elsewhere and to bring it elsewhere. That we want to learn about all the amazing ways that God is alive in the world. So I have one example of that in the real world. Do you guys know that some of us are going to Haiti in a few weeks? Yeah? And do you remember that in the past, other folks have gone to Haiti? We brought back pictures and all sorts of stuff, and we will do that again. And one of the reasons, your dad went to Haiti, indeed. The primary reason I'm going to Haiti, and I won't necessarily speak for the whole team, but is because I am so excited to see what God is up to in a culture that's totally different from what I know. I'm going to learn so much about the different ways that people survive and show love and are healers and liberators in the world. By going to Haiti, I'm going to learn about this whole new way. And so I'm going to try to kind of blend in by learning how they do it and practicing it alongside them. You have watched all the Wild Kratts. So I think if you were to go to Haiti, you would be so good at learning about new people, because that's what the Wild Kratts do. The second reason that we're going to Haiti is to help a little bit. That we have been asked to go in there and to do some teaching, which is also what the Wild Kratts sort of do. They teach by being new animals. They teach us about animals. Now the other thing that... I know you love the Wild Kratts so much. I can tell. And now you are getting some commentary from your father on that love. So I have another example of sort of God, the good news meeting us right where we are. Have any of you played a game with someone littler than you? Yes, maybe a sibling, maybe a friend, maybe it's a neighbor. And do you sometimes have to change the rules a little bit to make sure that that littler person can play fully? Yeah? Well, I think that might be what Paul was talking about too. That the good news meets us right where we are so that all of us can play. And all of us can have fun. And all of that, the Wild Kratts and playing with each other and going to new places and experiencing new things, is not stuff we do when we're afraid. It's stuff we do when we're filled with awe and wonder and joy and love. So that's what I think Paul was talking about. So I would like for you guys over these next few weeks to notice places where you're sort of learning new things and curious and full of wonder at what's going on about you. Because as some of you newer to the world than others, you are learning new things all the time, and you have to remind us adults about all the wonderful, amazing stuff there is in the world.
I don't even have to remind my parents about school because my parents get an email.
They get an email reminder? Well, maybe someday when you're grown you will also send them your own email reminder. Thank you, guys.